Damascus, Sunnah. Speaker of the People's Assembly Hammouda Sabbagh stressed that the war which has been waged on Syria for 7 years was plotted by foreign parties, and began with propaganda war launched by Arab and Western media outlets using different tools such as deception and fact distortion. Sabbagh's remarks came during his meeting with the House of Lords and the Anglican Church delegation. He said that Syria is recovering from the war in line with victories made by the Syrian Arab army in cooperation with its allies and friendly states against Daesh and other terrorist organizations, adding that the government's priorities lie in eradication of terrorist hubs, consolidation of national reconciliation, the return of displaced people and the launch of reconstruction process. Sabbagh hoped that the delegation's members would convey the real image of what is taking place on the ground in a neutral way which might help change attitude towards Syria and restore security and stability to the country, noting that the Syrian people have remained steadfast and determined to move forward with their daily life. He stressed need for halting all forms of foreign intervention in Syria's internal affairs and ending funding, arming and providing support to terrorists. For her part, member of the House of Lords of the United Kingdom Baroness Cox confirmed that the delegation's members are independent and they don't affiliate with any political party, adding that the current visit to Syria aims at inspecting the reality of what is happening here. She recalled her previous visit in 2016, which included a tour in Maaloula city and a number of western neighborhoods in Aleppo where they examined the life of Syrian people there and their experiences of pain and suffering. Cox expressed joy at being in Syria where things are getting better and Daesh terrorist organization is gradually collapsing, hailing the achievements made by the Syrian army in its war against terrorism. She thanked Syria and its people for being the first line of defense to protect freedom of life and religion beliefs as it fights a proxy war on behalf of the whole world despite the high cost it paid to achieve that end. Baroness Cox said that she has repeatedly criticized the British government's policy and endeavors towards the so-called changing the rule in the country, and stressed that the Syrian people only have the right to determine their future. Cox noted that her comments and inquiries helped her discover that the British government gives £200 million to opposition groups annually and the taxes paid by British people are sent to the Syrian opposition. Moreover, these amounts of money further prolong the war and increase the suffering of Syrian people. Former Archbishop of Canterbury, Baron Carey of Clifton, indicated that the British people over the past 5 years have understood the events in Syria in a wrong way and they were convinced that changing the rule in Syria is the only solution, adding that the current visit aims at discussing means of cooperation to take part in rebuilding what has been destroyed due to war. Lord Raymond Hilton expressed hope to further strengthen Syrian-British parliamentary relations. For his part, the Anglican Church priest Andrew Asone said that the delegation's main mission upon their arrival to Britain is to convince the government to end its sanctions and policies against Syria because it should not depend on information and consultations provided by Muslim Brotherhood movement members and Syrian refugees who support the armed opposition. He said that his talks with some Syrian refugees in Britain revealed that they support the Syrian government and fear to declare that because of Muslim Brotherhood and British media. The meeting dealt with delegations' inquiries on means of changing the world attitude towards events in Syria, the rebuilding stage in cities and rural areas, the legislative and investment environment, national reconciliation and impact of terrorist war on health and education sectors in Syria. Sabbagh stressed that the Syrian state is built on law and legislation, executive and juridical institutions, and it has a modern constitution that preserves democracy and regulates the political and social life in the country, not to mention the new election law. He underlined the government's unremitting efforts and determination to provide citizens with their basic requirements and services and achieve comprehensive development in cities and rural areas despite terrorist attacks which target hospitals, universities, schools, churches and mosques since the very beginning of the war. R. Ruslan Mason.